gentlemen, the Fividic Industrial Estate in Misamis Oriental is now declared a labor laws compliant economic zone.
Karangalan po na naging bahagi po ako ng tinatawag ko yung milestone o breakthrough po dito sa bahagi ito ng ating bansa, kung saan kikilalanin po ang Fividic ecozone na pinakauna po ng ecozone na as labor laws compliant dito po sa bahagi ito ng ating bansa. Congratulations po sa inyong lahat. Opo, hindi po madali yung pinagdaanan po kung bakit po nagkaroon po tayo ng ganitong reforma. Una po sa lahat, hindi mo maipagkakaila na yung po dating sistema na nakatuon lang po siya sa inspection at ang dating po ng aming mga inspector sa kumpanya ay parang pulis. Napagatok po sa inyong mga doon ay ang nasa isip niya, hahanapan ako ng violation at bababaan ako ng mga order na kailangan ko sundin. No question asked, so to speak. Pag natanong, ang madalas sa sagot, doon na lang tayo nag-usap sa Department of Labor and Environment. So, napaka-regulatory po at ang mindset na ako ay parang Police Inspector General. Kaya, nararanasan ko yung talagang hindi po nyo sila pinapapasok. Pag po napapasok ninyo, pag may hindi yung records, talagang ayaw nyo ibigay. Di ba ba? At kinakatakutan nga ako ninyo eh. Pag nakita na ba ang gagawin nito, police violation, agad-agad ba kung babayarin ako? Kung gano'n. At kung minsan ho, magtatanong din po kayo na subukan kung pwedeng i-buy out your pay into whatever findings na nandun po sa kanyang report. And therefore, nag-breed din po ng corruption ng dating sistema. So, nung dumating yung time na the President was being valued by the Big Labor Federation para po yung security of tenure bill sa Congress na napakarami po. Kung saan po ang common feature po noon ay nagsiset po ng cap. At gusto nilang gawin ito through the law and therefore mandatory na certain percentage lang ang pwede nilang isa-contract. Nevertheless, you have to be regular employment. In other words, so talagang yung highly regarded na exclusive management prerogative po ay kumbaga sa ano ay magiging napakalaking issue sa management. In the same way, na exploitative practices ng subcontracting ay napakalaking issue din po sa labor sector. At sabi po ng Presidente, sa isang labor dialogue din, sabi niya, if you want me to certify those bills in Congress, I would like first to suggest to you, at kaya po yung mga employers, to revisit all the pending bills and find out if there is a possibility that you can come out with a consensus-based alternative bill. So much so na hindi naman, wala pong balance. Wala po kasi yung balancing ng interest pa po yung bills na nasa Congress. So in other words, ang next step po is for the President to ask me if indeed subcontracting is being used to circumvent compliance with labor law. Are you able, ito ang tanong niya, are you able to visit a company at least once a year and be assured that they are compliant with all the labor laws and regulations applicable to them? Of course, I said, I'm sorry, Mr. President, we can, even if we want to, we're not able to do so because even the ILO audit on the present system shows that with the small core of labor inspectors on our job, it will take 16 years before you can visit the company in terms of frequency. Minsan sa 16 na taon. And so he said, so what is the solution? How many more people do you need? And he said, based on the study is, we need an additional 320 new labor officers based on a ratio of 1 officers to 120 companies in a year. And they said these are the companies covered by the labor laws. And so, very surprised po ako, he didn't ask for detailed computation. He just asked Secretary Woods to give me and set aside the budget to be able to have those 322 positions that with appropriate budgetary allocations. And on top of that, he volunteered to give the labor compliance officers electronic gadgets because he wants real-time capture of all the data and information gathered at the plant or at the company level so that, as I said, there will be no room for corruption or under the table deals whatsoever. He's very aware of that. And then he said, but after I have given you his support, this is what I expect from Dole. And one is to see to it that the jobs in the market, when you implement the labor laws, you must see to it that the jobs in the market are preserved. Okay? They will not be lost simply because you are implementing labor laws. Second, you better see to it that businesses who are here already that are planning to expand, and those new investors coming in should not see labor law compliance as a deterrent or a big burden to business. Meaning, it has to help facilitate and ease the conduct of doing business in the Philippines. But third, according to him, you must see to it that for as long as these laws are not changed or amended, the rights and the benefits to the workers should be recognized and should be implemented. Meaning, whatever to them for monetary benefits, for example, they should be given on time and they should be given on the exact amount. So when I went back to the office, I was really reflecting on whether the current system then would be able to meet the conditions and standards set by the President. And I thought, hindi mo mababago yung perception or image namin na kami mo ay paaway ninyo. Na pag pumupunta po kami sa inyong opisina ay hindi mo kami nakikita na tutulong para dumaan po ang inyong pagtunay sa labor laws. Then, ang nangyayari po is hindi po kami nakakatulong in instilling stable labor management relations at the workplace, lagi po may intention, at yun nga po, hindi po nagiging productive at hindi po na-assure yung competitiveness po ng enterprise. On the other hand, the workers are also very dissatisfied kasi many of the benefits na ho guaranteed to them by the laws and the labor code are not being enjoyed by them. And so, I said, very ano po ako, believer po ako ng ISO certification system. Very systems-oriented po ako. I really thought that to be able to is doing business in the Philippines for any investors, for any management, all our laws and regulations which are so huge, so complicated already, and the sheer number of laws, so almost electronic checklist na nakita nyo, almost 100 million. Because in the past, dahil kulang ng tao, walang complaints, kulang po ng papadala ang mga tao namin. But now, the President says, all the companies under the labor laws will have to be assessed for compliance and therefore immediately support. So, ang nangyari po noon is, using the ILO system, parang ISO compliance system, mga companies who did kasi mga foreign locators, of course, very, ano po sila doon, very familiar po sila doon. So I said, we adopt in principle that system. We make transparent all the compliances under each and every law and every regulation. And should there be deficiencies, we want to avoid that term change labor inspector title to labor law compliance officer and assess labor. If there are deficiencies, please let convince management to sit down with us to plan a corrective action measure so that we can assist them if that is necessary, and all our services will have to be given free. So that was a major change, because I'm sure that in the past, when you want to know more of the labor laws, and there's so many, and you want to invite one of our personnel, I think on many occasions you have to prepare an envelope, put some money in it to pay their own barya or value. But you know, these are the work is our job. That is what the government paid for in terms of our salaries. And the salaries are already coming from our money as taxpayer. And so all we have to do is do our job and give them free so that there will be no added cost to your doing business here in the country, especially at least from the Department of Labor and Employment. So in the past, you see us as a burden, you see us as an enemy. We want to change that image. Now we come to you to help you, to assist you, to coach you, to train you, to mentor you, and offer all the services that you need for free. And that is the whole thing about labor law compliance system. It's a system that we developed for you. I just hope that those who really went through the process could really get encouraged on how the system would enable you to be a very good compliant company, good corporate citizens, and would appreciate that these labor laws, when you comply them, they are good for your business. These are the laws that are minimum, that are standards, and we say minimum and standards below which no self-respecting company should be able to operate their business. Otherwise, it's not only illegal, but it's also immoral. Okay? Yan po yung pag sinabi natin in labor standards, pag sinabi natin minimum wage, keeping body and soul together. Okay? And that's why we reform the minimum wage system, coming out with a formula, and therefore is less prone to politics, political pressure every time there is a wage order that will have to be adjusted. And we link it to income, to poverty income threshold, and we say the first year is fixed. It is in compliance with minimum wage. But the second year is very flexible, very voluntary, and it is productivity-based or performance-based. It can be in kind or it can be in cash. It all depends on the company. And the involvement of the workers who labor management committees would make it a system that would really enable them to participate in ensuring not only the viability but the competitiveness of the enterprise. Because part of the productivity improvement program is also a productivity insurance scheme. And so for those who have passed the assessment and will soon be receiving their certificate of compliance for the makers and their subcontractors, for anyone who gets the basic, I call this basic, certificate of compliance on general labor standards and on safety and health, the second level of engagement that we are offering to you for free is an 8-module ladderized productivity toolbox that starts with Module 1 on basic concepts and tools of productivity and onwards to the highest module, which is enterprise development and innovation. Ito, first time po na nangyayari sa Dole. LWPC has always been identified with minimum wage order, minimum wage fixing. Less focus was given to the other mandates, which is productivity. And so we were able to get a huge scholarship in Singapore Nanyang Polytechnic through the Massive Foundation, where we are able to train 230 productivity professionals, both coming from the ranks of the Dole and also from some selected employers and workers' representatives. And out of the learnings that they gathered them, they were able to package this productivity toolbox. And as I said, depending on your needs, if you find that module 1 is already met, you don't need it, then go to module 2, assess yourself, and at any modules where you feel you are in need in terms of the requirements of your company, then that module will have to be given to you, and the orientation and the capacity building will have to be given free. And as I said, we also have the tripartite, kasi yung regional tripartite wage and productivity, and we are representative po ng workers at saka ng employers. So whether you are formulating or crafting your productivity improvement program, or whether you want to go to the higher level of incentive from a 2-year incentive for those who get the certificate now, to the Secretary's Awards, which is 3-year incentive. We're working through a presidential proclamation for the possibility of the highest awards that would enable the President to recognize the highest the Excellence Awards on labor law compliance, and that would mean a 6-year certification validity. So we're really trying to build an environment, a culture for appreciating that voluntary compliance with labor law is good for business, and we are making it easier for you to do business here in the Philippines. Okay, aside from that, the package, this reform, is accompanied by a policy that first time adopted at the Dole for a no gift, no bribe policy. Okay, and I'm very happy to hear some of the feedbacks that our labor law compliance officer would even politely decline even an offer of water. And I say that's good because sometimes it starts with small things. First, a bottle of water, the next time, then may coffee na po, and then after coffee, may mga ano na. And before we know it, malayo na po, balik na naman po tayo sa dati. So we say, can we now discipline ourselves? Let's be contented with the salaries and the benefits that we enjoy here as a public servant. Anyway, our title really is a public servant. We serve the public more and less in return of the benefits compared with our counterparts in the private sector. If we feel everything is inadequate, go ahead with the government service and go to the private companies. That's the way to conduct yourselves above board, and you will become less prone to any corruption. So we built into the system that policy. By the way, I don't know whether you were given a checklist, I think, of 8 indicators where you have to fill. It's a simple checklist, and that goes to the checklist goes to me directly. It's a feedback mechanism on how our labor law compliance officer conduct themselves, their behavior, their attitude, the competence, as I said, some indicators on whether they did their job in a very honest and very transparent way. So I hope if you have not filled the checklist, then you should be able to pick it up. I think it is also downloadable in our website. And so I just hope that you will value the certificate of compliance that you receive. Ang laki-laki pa po ng dividend mo. Ang mga episode po talaga, after they have qualified, the locators and the subcontractors are qualified, hindi po talaga kami nakukontento na meron kayong sarili po na certificate of compliance. We want you to show not only to your employees, but to your public, kung patronize your good or whatsoever, that you are declaring that you are a labor laws compliant zone. And you stand by the integrity, the credibility of the locators in terms of adhering or complying with labor laws. And labor laws are really intended for your people is still the best asset, not only of your companies, but the best asset of our country. So tayo naman po, pag tinatrato po tayo ng maayos, tama, please be treated po talaga tayo. We give much more in return than what we receive. Kasi ganun po ang Asyano. Napakataas po yung kanyang pagbibigay ng unod at karangalan po sa kanyang pong sarili, sa kanyang pong pagkatao. Yun po ang kaya natin sa Western. At ito po mga reforms na ito is really aligned with the ASEAN culture. And Asia, as we all know, is the 21st century region. Dito na po nakatingin ang mga mayamang bansa sa kanluran kung ano nangyayari dito sa phenomenal growth po ng ekonomiya po sa Asia. And even our labor dispute settlement has been radically changed in favor of conciliation and settlement. Marinig po kanina na ipapasa po natin na doon na lahat ng mga reklamo sa labor ay dumaan muna sa 30-day conciliation and settlement para maiwasan po yung very expensive and very litigious na adjudication process po. Umaabot sa Supreme Court 9 to 10 years, ang iba po 20 years. Lalo na po yung mga malalaking amount na sa hinaba ng taon na dagdagan na po yung claims. Pag ibinalik po sa Dole, magpo-compute na naman po ng benefits kasi mag-a-adjust. Yun po computation, i-aabi na naman po. Lahat talaga po. Alam po ni President yan, because early in his administration, he referred to me and company po na tatlong subcontractor po. Dating sa Supreme Court, yun po dalawang subcontractor declared po as legal. Labor or labor traffic. Kahit po isang buwang sweldo, wala siyang kapital. And so lahat po ng empleyado, diniklear po na empleyado ng mother company, ang laki po ng amount na kailangan po bayaran. Lumapit po kay Presidente. But the President said, when he said it's a final decision of the Supreme Court, Mr. President, he said then he has to put up the money. Hinahanap ako sa akin ng mga workers pero hindi na po sigurado kung nasaan po sila. He has to give a name of somebody na makakatulong sa akin para yung so many years na pinaghintay nila na kailangan i-declare na file na entitled sila doon. Tapos nung ibibigay, hindi na sila mahanap. So that is the kind of judicial system that we have, be it in criminal, be it in civil, be it in labor. Masyado pong mahaba. Lahat po may appeal. So, but Asian culture would tell us it should be win-win. Whether sa pamilya, pag may nakakasundot, di ba dapat po ang ginagawa, umupuna tayo at tayo ang mag-resolve within the family. And so that's the way even with the company. So, strengthening your demand settlement, yung complaints procedure within the company, isang susiyo for lasting and passion peace in the company. And so, paglabas na po noon, ang sabi rin po namin sa gawin nating batas na hindi lang yung ULP na 15 days at 30 days for DETAP na covered na ng notice of strike at notice of blackout ang may mandatory conciliation and settlement system. Lahat na lang ng kaso. Tapos ibaba natin sa province para yung mga, kasi micro, small and medium enterprises po, ngayon po yung aming mga sector, ay karamihan po sila yung nagpidya na, kung nakakapa natin Pilipino, namumuhunan, tapos kailangan po natin na sila yung tulungan. Make all the services at the Labor Department accessible and even to them free. So yung pong conciliation, mediation, and yung civil entry, of course, Sena. You hear the word Sena, and po yung 30 day, mandatory, sige, libre po yung hindi po kailangan magdala ng pera. Sa totoo lang po. Karamihan po na nasa-settle is more money claim, mga dismissal and termination na hindi lang po na ipaliwanag ng maayos, at karamihan po doon ay settlement. It unplugs, it does not plug our packets anymore at the adjudicatory level. And then, yun pong sinasabi po natin na compliance is more of prevention. We emphasize more that if you comply this way, you are doing it the most effective way, which is preventive rather than remedial. So yun po, pinakits po natin yung mga reforma po na yan, na ngayon po is producing a very good impact po. Kahapon lang po, ang US Department of Labor at ang kanila pong consultant with the ILO saw me in the office telling me, hindi po nabanggit kanina, na itong very innovative labor law compliance system, the very strong and developmental and preventive approach is the only one right now system in the world. And they are giving us all-out support for our electronic management information system that would allow, in the first instance, for the Department of Labor to have a master list of establishment covered by the labor code. Wala akong ganyan sa Department of Labor and Employment. Nung mag-start po kami ng labor law compliance, punta kami sa SEC, punta po kami sa Department of Trade, punta po kami sa Philippine Statistics Authority, sa mga local government, just to be able to find out ilan ba talaga yung companies na kailangan ma-cover sa labor now with the time capture of all the companies that will be subject of this compliance, and we're doing this for all. There is no exemption. And for those who will cooperate, then, as I said, things will be very easy. Pero, kung talaga pong very stubborn po kayo and you insist na yung continuous sa inyong flagrant violation, we will have to use the enforcement power of the Secretary of Labor delegated to the regional directors. And I have to tell you that there is an article in the Labor Code that allows us, for companies who are really found in rampant violation of the labor laws, we can initiate criminal action through the prosecutors of the Department of Justice. Naka-encounter na po kami ng isang company na talaga po sobra po pasaway. Grabe po talaga. Treatment sa amin at sa pati po sa level ko. So we tested that article and filed together with the DOJ prosecutor a criminal case. And after a few hearings, pati anong taon po namin nag-aapil, they have sent the message to us that they are willing to sit down and settle claims. So, meron pa rin kung gano'n talaga eh. Kaya kung tinitiyan natin po namin, ang sana po, kayo, na at the start, very open po kayo sa legal reforms, embracing this process as your own, and finding it very beneficial, kaya also do advocacy for this kind of reforms. Kasi, whether we like it or not po, there is still 3 million unemployed workers po out there. And, siyempre po nag-intro ng January po ang labor force natin lahat po. But ang underemployed po is still in the vicinity of less than 7 million. So, sino po ba ang nag-create ng job? Di ba po ba ang mga businesses? So, dapat po makilala na sila yung unang dapat na tulungan at sana po naman ay maging open po sila sa tulong ginagawa. And this is our way of helping contribute to the goal of sustained growth and therefore addressing the poverty in the country through this reform. So, ang sinasabi po namin ay okay na yung mga trabaho na. Pero ang sabi nga po ni Presidente, siguraduhin po na mawawala ng trabaho. Eh kung sobra po ang aming yung enforcement power po sa inyo, tapos nasasagyan pa po kayo sa ganung parang tendency to buy your way out and you have to spend so much thousands or maybe hindi lang po thousands. Then at a certain point in time, kung hindi mo na yung para sabihin, ay di ba itigil ko na yung aking negosyo na to? Ang mga big businesses, wala naman po tayong problema, pero on compliant eh. But ngayon mo, ibinababa mo na po sa supply chain eh. And there is such a thing as legitimate subcontracting in the country. And that is what we are protecting. Under Article 18 which is part of your compliance, are the list of requirements for you to be able to comply with the 18 Before the 18 there is a department order at the Dole where you could register as contractor without even a single centavo as capital. And that allows the proliferation of die-by-night contractors such that the registry went to 18,000. When we introduced Department Order 18-A recognizing legitimate subcontracting and imposing a minimum capitalization equivalent to micro-enterprises, capitalization of 3 million, alam niyo po yung 18,000, wala pa pong 5,000 na natira. Kaya ngayon po ang mga subcontractor, these are really real, legitimate subcontractor in the country. They have their capital, they have their equipments, they pay the salaries of their workers, they pay the social security system, the security premium, and so on and so forth of their workers. They are the legitimate independent contractor. And that as they conduct their business, then they are protected by the law. So napapasalamat po within the PBTEC, lahat po ng subcontractor dito pass the assessment in terms of compliance with labor laws. Kailangan po talaga na may makita po ninyo na it is no longer a burden to comply with labor laws. Lahat po ng pwede namin maitulong. Kung meron pa po kayong nakikita na dapat po kami tutulong, hindi po namin napapansin pa ngayon, please feel free po na i-voice out po ninyo yun kasi ang ginagawa po ng gobyerno ay not for the sake of coming out with regulations, but to see to get that you make it easy for you to comply with those. Kaya po tripartite endorse po lahat ang reforms sa Department of Labor and Employment. Grabe po ang social dialogue and consensus building that goes before a department order, before I sign a department order, and once the implementation will show mutually beneficial benefits, we cover it in a proposed bill so that it will be institutionalized. Because it's easy to change my signature by just one stroke of the pen if I just issue a department order to cover a major reform. It will just take another signature to set aside an executive order issued by the President. But if it is a law, the process takes long. And there are congressional hearings that would allow all stakeholders to be able to participate in the drafting of the law. Kaya yung institutionalization, isa po yung Presidente. Kung may naituwid na kayo ng mga sistema sa inyong departamento at iyan ay kapakipakinabang sa mga intended beneficiaries ay the next step that you should do is institutionalize the reform. Go to Congress and ensure that there is a law that will be passed to protect the reform. So yun po yung mga sa ano ay pagbabago po na maaari pong maliit at hindi po perfect na ng sistema na perfect. Everything has to be done in a very progressive manner. Marami pong birthdays, kung gano'n. But the idea po is, as you go through the process of understanding and looking looking at the benefits of the reform, kung meron pa rin po mga downside, very tripartite po ang approach po natin, whether it's minimum wage, whether it's whatever po na kailangan atin pong harapin, itilalaan po natin sa tripartite consensus. Here, Holcim and Lamarck's, so they're saying that they will be merged, but common po also po sila, no such companies will continue to stay at minimum po mga divestment plan. But we have to allay the risk of the workers. And so it's a very open, consultative process where cooperation and partnership to address problems so that we will not resort into more serious cases. Yun po ang bottom line po when we are talking about this reforms. So, hindi ko na po pakakabaan ang aking po at mahaba na po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Pasensya na po kayo. Pero, sana po ang pasasalamat ko ay nag-cover mo ng mga retailers ko with namin. We have declared, I think, 5 episodes already. All Cebu episodes except for one po ay lahat po yun ay naka-declare na. And actually, part of Cebu was the first. You are the first here in Mindanao. And even tourist destination po ay nilideclare po namin compliant for as long as lahat po ng mga establishment ay compliant with the laws. And I'm noticing po na ang local government po ay very supportive. Sa lahat po ng mga pinagdedeclare namin, lagi po silang kasama. Ang isang very complete support nila na kanila po ina-articulate is since gusto nila gamitin to attract more investors ito, pag po mag-renew ng mga permits, they will ask that the certificate compliance with the orders will be part of the documents that will be submitted. So whether tourism or whether sold, the idea po is this is a good mark for added value to the products and the services that we, especially those that we sell as well. So maraming pong salamat and God bless po Ribinek, all the communicators here and our subcontractors who deserve our recognition. Thank you very much.
The certificate is valid for 2 years from issuance unless earlier revoked or cancelled. Given this 13th day of March 2015 at Cagayan City, signed Regional Director Raymundo G. Agravante. May we request the 3 companies to accept the certificate? May I call the Bagong Buhay Aerospace Dibdori Incorporated, Cagayan Harbor Pilot Services Incorporated, and the Philippine Center Corporation.
Again, thank you and congratulations. The third set of awardees are the following.
Congratulations. May we call the Corbox Corporation.
And now to award also our service providers of our various companies. May call on the first set of awardees. For the contractors, State Power Incorporated may call on VK General Services Multi-Purpose Cooperative, Vilia Oro Maritime Services Incorporated, Oirasor Manpower Resources, Davao Cavalier Security Agency Incorporated, Oro GMP Enterprises. And for the contractors of Jacobi Carbon Philippines Incorporated, may I call on Healthmate Services Incorporated, VB Security Agency, and Vilia Oro Maritime Services Incorporated.
Also for the Philippine Center Corporation, Marmilic Construction Philippines Incorporated, Mindanao Oriental Builders Incorporated, Cyclone Transport Corporation, St. Thomas Security Agency and General Services, Air Power Element Incorporated. A round of applause, please.
I call on Alisna Security and Detective Agency, Transfast Express Logistics Incorporated. For St. Jude Nursing Plant, I call on St. Gabriel Manpower Services. For Mindanao International Container Terminal Services, RVV Security System Incorporated, LRZ General Services Incorporated. For Limited Manufacturing Corporation, they call on following service providers: Oirasor Manpower Services and Iglesia Security Agency.
And for Tayo Nippon Sancho Philippines Incorporated, Stanislaw Manpower Services. For Naxiano Saop Manpower Services Company, and New Personnel Builders and Consultancy Services for Northern Mindanao Container Lines Incorporated.
Godswell Investigation Security Agency.
And for Polar Bear Freezing and Storage Corporation, Simcom Janitorial and Allied Services, the Buoy Security Agency, and for Phoenix Petroleum Philippines, Blue Armor Security Investigation and General Services Incorporated, Prime Power Manpower Services, Maclon's Manpower Services.
Okay, for Timberwood Development Corporation, I call on Naval Manpower Services. For Corbox Corporation, Bison Security and Investigation Agency, RC Barreto General Services Incorporated.
For the contractors of Isla LPG Corporation, Lawing Security Services, Archipelago Terminals Incorporated. And for Taguluan Polymedic General Hospital, again, the VP Security Agency, Taguluan. We have the Varsity Engineering Works Incorporated, the Commander Security Services, Interserve Management and Manpower Services, and the Villa Oro Maritime Services Incorporated.